So this is going to be our last real episode.
Yeah. Last episode of season 4.
Yeah.
Fuck me. We're almost on our 5th year of doing this.
I think we finally have it down, maybe.
Maybe. I think the important part of living with ADHD is understanding that it's always going to change, because if it doesn't, you get bored.
Yes. This is a bonus experience. That's where we're at today.
Yeah. We're a podcast with a deeper look at the play experience and the finer details of running and writing games.
And we are queer women, sort of speaking with authority about games.
Yes, we swear.
Die mad about it. Who are you?
I'm Ray. Hi, how are you? I'm Ray. I'm an industry professional. I've written for Exalted. I've written for Scion. I've written for Trinity. I've written for Vampire. I've written for They Came From. I've written for... What am I missing?
I don't know. What are you missing?
I think that's everything. I have some other stuff in the tank that I can't talk about. I've done a lot of things.
Yeah.
Let's just say I'm a pretty big deal.
You said, how are you? And I said, and then just didn't say the next word, and that sums it up pretty well.
I am.
Yeah, I am.
I am.
Sure am.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm Monica. I guess. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Reasonably certain.
Okay. All right. We'll check in with you later on how that's going.
Yeah, how that's progressing.
How it is being Monica.
I've also worked on Exalted.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also worked on Scion.
Yeah.
And I also worked on Vampire. All of them. All of the vampires. I've worked on all of the vampires. Which makes people think I like all of the vampires. I worked on V20. I worked on VTR. And I worked on V5. In some capacity.
You must really like Vampire.
Nope. No, I just really like money.
Yeah.
And Danielle.
I like money and I like D.
I like money and I like D. Also, my work on the Guide to the Night is really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I also worked on Scion. Did I already say that? I think I said that.
I think so. Yeah.
I didn't work on They Came, but I have worked on Trinity Core.
Trinity, yeah.
Yeah, and Aeon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Chronicles of Darkness stuff. While we were still doing that.
Right, yeah.
Yep. I worked on Deviant. That just came out.
Yeah, that's out. Yeah, that's out now.
Yeah. It's gross and creepy. This will be our last episode of season 4.
I know, I can't believe it.
We made... I can't believe it's almost fucking October.
Oh, God. This will be the end of our 4th year of doing this bullshit.
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
We're gonna try this. We're gonna try this off-season thing.
Yeah, I think it's gonna. Well, I mean, this isn't technically the first time we've done this.
Yeah,
this is just the first time we've done it officially
on purpose. We're doing it on purpose this time.
On purpose. I already have plans for. I did my maiden stream of playing Caves of Q'd on Sunday. Every time I talk about it, I have to pronounce it differently. Okay. I played Caves of Q'd for an audience on Sunday, and it was really well received, and I died several times, and it was a lot of fun. I'm planning on incorporating more games into that, but then I also want to like run games and just like hang out with people, and we have like a Halloween event that we're planning. I'm making like cool like graphics for it and shit. I can't remember what else. Oh, Monica, you're organizing deep dives with D?
Yes, that's gonna be a thing. People asked for it. It's probably gonna be one or two of them.
Yeah.
A bunch of people. I said to the misdirected mark folks, "Hey, does anybody want to do a BXP crossover while we're in our off season?" And like 3 people said yes. So
yeah, so
we have to get around to coordinating that.
We might do like maybe we do like a feed drop, like if we do like when we do the inevitable Pandas crossover, because we love Phil and Senda and they love us back. We can just do like a feed drop and just put the Pandas episode in the BXP feed.
Yeah, I think that's the goal for all of them. Ange from Gnome Stew wants to talk to us, and Jeremy from They're a Super Geek wants to talk to us.
I want to talk to the gnomes.
And of course Doc wants to talk to us.
Yes, I like dog a lot. All right, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna do like a little tour.
Yeah, we'll do a little. Yeah, off-season episodes will come out when they come out. The goal is like, we'll get you something once a month probably, but
yeah, we'll still be making stuff. It just won't be BXP.
Yeah, it won't be BXP, and it won't be on the every other week schedule that we only sort of adhere to.
No, we're doing our best.
We're pretty good about having something out every other week. What day does it come out? I couldn't tell you, but
it's during the week. Usually before Thursday.
Before Thursday, usually. Yep. So
I think this is why like the core of our fandom are like neurodivergent queers, because they're all like, we got it, it's fine.
Yeah, I can't imagine why the majority of our audience would be neurodivergent queers. What a surprise.
We bring that energy. I feel like there's something else I wanted to say, but I've completely lost it.
Well, I'm gonna start the thing where I talk about the topic, and if it comes to you, just interrupt me.
Yeah, we should probably do that. Yeah. Oh, systematic understanding of everything is ending.
Oh yeah, systematic understanding of everything is ending.
I mean the original premise of systematic understanding of everything is ending.
Yes, the run of We Explain Exalted to You will be over.
Are you ready to talk about what's the next phase?
I think we probably should plan and finalize that a bit more before we advertise it.
Right. You're so right.
I am.
Okay, cool.
We have something cool in mind that is going to be a scheduling disaster, so I don't want to talk about it yet.
I think it'll be okay. I've learned a lot from the person I was asking. I feel like if I talk about this too directly, people will be like, I know what they're doing. But I've learned a lot from the person that I was talking to about how to pull this off, so I think it'll be okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very confident.
Okay, cool.
Anyway, our topic. It's been like an hour.
All right, so we have had a bevy of topics from Twitter to choose from.
Yeah,
the outline says this week, but this is several weeks out of date. But like, Twitter is always churning out something new to make us mad. But rather than dive into the discourse, pick one. Just pick one. Pick a topic that you can think of. Today, BXP is going to talk about something we agree with and want to discuss. Like, listen, wild. I know. Okay, get it. I get it. All right, but we will be back to being spicy later. We're okay. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's just we're taking a break.
Yeah,
the holidays are coming. The holidays are coming. You got to put the spice away. Use it for cookies.
Put it in your coffee. You can't just be on all the time.
Yeah,
we gotta
balance.
Yeah. And this is our last full episode, so.
One of our buddies hexed so much it broke his hand. Like, you gotta be careful.
I'm pretty sure that's not how that works, but, don't shed off so much negative energy that it comes back to you. Yeah.
Don't break your own bones with your negativity. So, fuck, what are we talking about today?
Yeah, I found a really fucking interesting thread written by Nightling Bug on Twitter, and again, this was like a month ago now, about how D&D, for all its other problems, is an OC generator, an original character generator, and how its lack of direct representation in characters you can make can be a draw for marginalized people who are not self-actualized. I think this is a fantastic take. I 100% agree with it, and you should go read it. And if I can dig it back up out of Twitter, we'll put a link in the show notes. When I wrote this outline, it was much more recent.
And you did not link it in the outline.
No, I didn't link it in the outline.
We'll find it.
It is on my Discord somewhere, and I probably could search for
it.
Yeah. We are not going to argue the point or try to interpret it any further. That is not happening here. She already did that, and we agree with her. So don't go fight with her on Twitter, please. Please don't do that. Please don't resurrect drama just because we're talking about it right now. BXP, however, is going to take her suggestion that we should take the free lunch offered by D&D in that, like, more indie games should be cool OC character creators. Why are we not doing this? And eat it. Take that free lunch and eat it. So we're going to talk about that today.
Yes.
So would you like me to ask these questions since you have written the first answer?
I wrote, because I got to the outline first.
Yeah, you did.
Probably.
That's fine. So for our first point, let's talk about what drives us to make OCs. And let's talk specifically about what makes a player character personally compelling.
So this is actually so close to me in so many ways that it's kind of hard for me to put it into words. I've been making original characters, do not steal, as a writer, as an artist, and as a gamer for like 95% of my life. One of the gifts I remember best from my early childhood is I got a little like personal, like made for kids tape recorder with a microphone that I would just like babble improv stories into. And that was my favorite thing in the world until I took it into the bath with me. I learned a hard lesson about electronics. I've been making original characters literally like my whole life. I've made OCs to interact with parts of the world that interest me, whether those are fantasy worlds or the real world. I make them to express like personal conflicts I'm sorting through, or just personal conflicts that I think would be interesting. I make them because I saw another character that I thought was almost perfect, but like I would change one or two things if they were mine. It's kind of like almost like a reflex for me. Like I just make avatars specifically for interacting with different like aspects of the world or personal communication that really interest me.
I have an odd relationship with OCs is what I'm trying to say. Like I've had quite a few I really like. But even when I was just playing a lot of pretend in the backyard with my middle school bestie and her brothers, I was always kind of in a GM role. I kind of feel like we talked about this in a really early BXP episode.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I played a lot of roles and facilitated our story. And even when playing with the minifigs, it was kind of about how many different people can these guys be? What sort of weird ongoing story can I tell with all these pieces? And it wasn't until I got into the mechanical aspects of playing pretend that I really got attached to an OC. And I'll be honest, a lot of that was neat things I could do, then this character is me. But also some of that too. Don't worry, I'm not a monster.
Right. Sometimes the character is only a little bit you, but it's never not you.
Yeah. I don't know where I was going with that. Mostly that I am more likely, I guess I'm just the sort of weirdo who's more likely to impress myself firmly upon someone else's character than I am to just make my own.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
Or to be like given pieces like a bunch of minifigs or dolls with outfits or whatever and be like, what can I say here? Can I change these people around?
Interesting that there is like a Lego minifig to tabletop RPG character creation pipeline. What is character creation if not a lot of pieces of a Lego minifig?
Right, sure. Every possible head you could swap out. So I think that's a good way to segue into let's talk about the ways people express themselves through player characters.
Oh god, I saw this on the outline. I was like, oh my god, like the number of times I've made a player character and realized later that I was like sorting some shit out using that player character. Like after the fact, like, oh yeah. They can be like little trauma avatars. You can just project your issues onto someone who's way more attractive and competent and interesting than you. That's my main draw.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just wrote right underneath it exactly the same thing. Sometimes it's a way to work through something you didn't know you were going through, or make a cooler, more attractive, more heroic version of yourself shoulder the same burdens and come out better. Or worse.
Or worse. Sometimes that's fun too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely, in retrospect, like my real big long-running D&D 4th edition character, which is a campaign I think we played through the entire edition, I was like, oh, this is about feeling estranged by my family. That's what this is about. Huh.
Yeah.
Sure is.
Yeah.
But also like dressed up in a way that's cool and fun and not just
it
sad.
doesn't feel really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, same. I actually feel a little uncomfortable pointing to direct examples of this, but yeah, yep. A lot of the times I'll make a PC and then go like, oh yeah, that was about my issues with insert issue here.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that there's more to say on this topic, so
I mean, some people don't do that, I guess.
I guess.
I guess there exist people that don't use their player characters as little avatars for their own trauma, but I don't understand that.
I
that's
think
not me.
My guess is that if someone is not doing that, there is some other aspect of the story they're interested in engaging with that they are fascinated by. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't really have to be personal exploration, though that's sort of what we're talking about here. And I just remembered what topic 5 was going to be.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I should write that down real quick before I forget it, because it will fall out of my brain. Right, so, like, maybe it's just, what would it be like to be a halfling? What if my life was being a 3-foot tall guy who smoked a lot of weed?
A very small, very high individual. What if I was even smaller and even higher than I am now?
Right now.
What would be different?
Right, or like, have you never made a character where you were like, most characters are some tiny aspect of yourself, and then you make a character who is just not you in any way at all. And then something happens and you're like, oh wait, no, that's where that came from.
Yeah, I played a D&D character. Mm-hmm. I think it was the longest running D&D 5e character I had that was like a dwarven grandmother.
Yes, I love your
cleric.
I love dwarven grandma cleric.
She's really great, and I at the time was like, this is nothing like me, and then I was like, oh, I made this character when I was wrestling with my my own problems, like related to like being a caregiver for children and whether or not they were really my children or not, and all the stuff that came with that. And this was basically like the team mom who really like embraced the idea of being the team mom, and like yeah, I thought it was making something that had nothing to do with me, and then I was like, oh, actually, she was helping me with my issues related to parenthood.
So, despite PCs and original characters sort of being the way one rolls out the therapy couch for themselves, why wouldn't someone let players make their own funny little guy?
Well, there could be time constraints if you're running for a specific time slot during a convention. Mm-hmm. You might bring pre-generated characters to cut down on time, because sometimes character generation is a whole session all on its own, and you just don't have the fucking time for that.
Depending on the game.
There could also be story constraints. Like if you're running like a really tightly themed one shot, you might want to come with some appropriate pre-gens for people to choose from. That's not going to like completely derail your game. When I ran a Monster of the Week one shot that was basically just Alien. It was just the movie Alien with like a couple of cosmetic changes. So I came with a bunch of pre-generated characters, like, because if you're going to play a game that's basically Alien, you kind of want to curate the sort of characters that they can play. So I brought them, like,
you don't need, what is it, the champion, the divine, the chosen showing up to Alien.
Yeah, you need,
because it was Monster of the Week, right? You said that.
Yeah. You don't want the chosen, you don't want the divine. I did have someone was playing a monstrous, but it was the guy that was secretly an android. So that worked really well.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anyway, sometimes you just want to curate it, and sometimes you want to cut down on the time.
Yeah, I started the thought that depending on the game, sometimes character creation is like an all-day affair. Yeah. Games are moving away from that, but like it's to coordinate like 4 to 5 people to make characters depending on their skill levels and familiarity and all that could be. You could, if you're like, this is a one shot, you better have those ready to go. Because otherwise you might not play.
Yeah, the one shot will be character creation.
Yeah, I mean, other games not all games do this, but like that can happen. Yeah. I personally really like assigning players specific characters and roles and then being surprised by the way they develop them, that's the whole thing. That is, besides the practical thing of like, these are pre-gens. When I make pre-gens, I just make like a class or a race or a exalt type or whatever. No name, like no gender, just here's some stats, here's what this character does. You tell me who they are.
Yeah.
That's usually how I roll with that. And usually curated towards things people have said they wanted to do. Like if someone's like, I want to yell at people and hit things, and I'm like, all right, here's your Zenith Solar. Right, like here you go.
It's your government assigned exalted kin.
Yeah, there you go. If for all of the one shots I've run on streams for Essence, that was all based on requests from people for specific things they wanted their character to do, and then they made up their characters on the spot, like their names, their personalities, and that's fun too. That's usually my facilitating pre-gens for a game where like we're not going to spend all day making characters. But when I'm talking about assigning player-specific characters and roles to be surprised by the way they develop them, usually this means characters from an existing IP. Ray played in the Sailor Moon game I ran, where everyone played Sailor Moons.
Yeah, I played Sailor Saturn. It was intense.
So each of those characters were their own PBTA playbooks, very much like the one-page dossier in Lady Blackbird, which was a game I had not played at the time. And it is inarguably one of my most successful campaigns. And more than one friend discovered they were just fine with playing the opposite gender. I like to do this when I want to see a specific story told with specific characters and I want to be surprised rather than control the outcome. If I wanted the latter, I'd just write actual fanfic rather than spend hours homebrewing stuff to facilitate it.
So I guess we should go on break.
Yeah, I guess we should. We've been talking a lot.
This is going to be a really good, like, hey, final episode of the season.
Yeah.
Big-ass Patreon version.
Yep.
All right, let's go to the break room.
All right, let's go.
I'm going to take a break from talking, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Could you do the whole break? Is that all right?
Oh, my coffee went lukewarm. Ugh. Oh.
Oh, God. Oh.
Oh, why did I do that? Okay. Yeah, sure.
All right, cool.
I need you to ding for me, though.
Oh, okay.
Yes. BXP is brought to you by the Misdirected Mark Network.
Bing!
All right, now you're dismissed.
Thank you.
Yep. Become a BXP patron. Patrons get to chat with us directly, special Discord roles, and exclusive hangouts, which are going to happen even more during the off-season. You can support us for as little as $1 a month, which is a steal and gets you all kinds of fun stuff. If you'd rather support BXP without committing to monthly payments, you can still buy a coffee, ko-fi.com/bonusexp, and buy our stuff. Go to bxpcast.com/bxpswag and check out our merch page. Also, don't forget BXP is sponsored by Nerdy Kepi. You can get all kinds of rad queer swag. Remember to use code BXPcast at checkout for 10% off. Never expires. That's nerdykepi.com. And you can just go to the collections page and then click the thing that says bonus experience, and you can see all of our cool, exclusive Nerdy Kepi BXP stuff. Remember also that saying nice things is always free. Leave us a good review on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Google. I think we're on Spotify. Wherever, and help us get more listeners. Just say nice stuff about us. We love to hear it. And if you like bonus experience, you'll also like Gnomecast. Several gnomes from Gnome Stew get together to talk about gaming topics and themselves in an effort to entertain you and avoid being thrown in the stew.
What do you think a Gnome Stew tastes like?
Gamey, probably.
Gamey?
Yeah, I don't think
That's
gnomes...
a terrible pun.
I don't... Oh, wow. Yeah, it is. Not intended. Pretend that it was, because that's clever. I was just like, gnomes taste terrible.
Gamey. You brilliant son of a bitch.
Is it brilliant if it's an accident? Is it...
Well, I guess that depends if you're one of those like awful people that think accidents aren't real. There is no such thing as an accident. Because you are watching this video, you are energetically aligned with my message.
Motherfucker.
Ugh. Anyway.
He turned out to be terrible.
Fucking milkshake ducks left and right.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Let's go.
So, what are our favorite character generation systems?
I really like StoryPath Chargen.
No way.
Chargen. We've had this discussion already, haven't we? Yeah. No, right? So, yeah. Oh, StoryPath, really? I'm fucking nuts about Traveler's character creation minigame, even though I have never played Traveler in my whole fucking life. So StoryPath for those of you who have not created a character using the story path system, because there's the 9 attributes, because it's, you know, it's got White Wolf DNA.
Yeah, it's your approaches.
Is it might?
How
many times have I written for story path and I cannot fucking remember?
I had to look at this very recently because H used the 3 essence attributes instead of the 3 story
I was about to
approaches.
use, you got force, fortitude, and finesse.
It's basically the same thing, 3 things.
Yeah,
it is
might,
power.
Oh, power. That's it.
Finesse,
power.
Resilience.
Power, finesse, and resilience. And those 3 basically, those, you got the power, finesse, resilience, but then you still have your physical, mental, social. So you prioritize one of the 3: power, finesse, resilience, and then go through and pick physical, mental, social, and it kind of like creates that array for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, you have your 3 paths. Like you have, it depends on the story path game, but for example, in Scion, it's like your origin path. It's like where you came from. Your role path, which is the path that you, basically the role that you take on nowadays. And then I think the 3rd depends on which version of Scion you really, like Dragon has one, and then regular Scion has another, that are basically like how you tie to your pantheon or your patron. And then those paths have 3 asset skills attached to them. So if you are like, my origin is, I was a spoiled prep school student, then you might have culture, academics, and I don't know, fucking subterfuge, because you're a lion bitch, as your 3 asset skills. And then each one of those paths has 3 skills on it, and they may even overlap. You add them all together. So if you have 2 paths that have culture in them, that means that you have potentially 2 or more dots in culture, because they doubled up. And I like using that because it takes your character's background and their current like attitude. Basically, it marries your character's place in the world to the mechanical system, instead of expecting you to draw the connections on your own, like say D&D might do, where it's just like put some numbers in there and then go, I guess I'm an acolyte. Like, fucking, what is that even? Nobody cares. I also really like Traveler's character. Traveler's character creation is fucking bonkers. It's a whole game all on its own, where you roll like random stats, and then you're rolling to see how your character's life shaped up. Like you have these different phases of like, you have your career phase where you roll to see if you can get into the career of your choice. If you don't, then you can be a drifter, or you can enlist in the military. And then those are your careers. Or you can become a criminal. Those are your career choices. And then you roll to see how well you did in the career. Different events might happen to you. You might even fucking die. You could die during character creation in Traveler, which I don't know if that's still a thing in recent editions, but it's like infamous for you could die before you even get to the game.
I have no idea.
But you basically just keep rolling to see like the sort of skills and resources your character accrued in their life through their career progression. And at a certain point, because each phase is like 5 or 10 years or something like that, at a certain point it's like, okay, you're getting old now. If you continue to roll, you will gain more skills, but you have a chance of aging and like losing points in your like different attributes because you're getting old. Or you could go in for like this really illegal anti-aging process that if you get caught, your career becomes prisoner. And I really like it. At the very end, you like sum up everything that your character learned, sum up all the resources and like narrative permissions they earned through all that, and that's your character. So you could start with someone who's like basically like their first career was just academic. Like they spent 4 years at school and they went, I'm ready, and now they're on a spaceship. Or you could play like this grizzled like 75-year-old retired veteran who like saw combat and now has like these penalties to their like basically their strength and their dex, but they have like a bazillion fucking skills because they lived so fucking long. And it's really fun just to make characters. I've never played Traveler, but I've made characters for Traveler.
So I think my opinions on Traveler's character creation are basically that it's really fucking nailing being a great character creation minigame. And sucks shit if you're trying to make a character that you might be attached to for the duration of an entire game. Like, God help you if you had a specific concept you wanted to make, which I think you can actually just do, but like, Don't at me about being wrong about Traveler, please. I just don't care.
But if you come at it with like, all right, let's see what I come up with.
Yeah, let's
as a generator.
What minifig heads are in the bin of Legos?
Yeah.
As a character creation, we're I should critique it based on the criteria of the episode, which is a character generation system. In which case, top marks.
Yeah. But actually, I mean, you might get really emotionally attached to this guy because you're like living through, like, this guy's life is flashing before your eyes, basically, as you're getting ready to play Traveler.
It's almost like Microscope, but for people.
Yeah, kind of.
A little.
Yeah. I don't know. I really like it. I would love to have a whole game that's just making Traveler guys.
Okay.
Or find a way to incorporate some of that stuff into like optional character generation for like some of my favorite games, like as a roll your guy up, see what they did for their lives,
sure,
see if they lived through to actually become a guy.
Yeah, okay.
Like it'd be good for think about making exalted characters this way. Like, do you actually survive to exalt? Like, I don't know. I mean, this is getting
the point of
getting a little weird.
Playing an exalted character is that the answer is yes.
Yes, yeah, but it's, I don't know, I like it.
Yeah. That's my point about it, like, not being fantastic for, like, well, no, I wanted to play this guy. I didn't just want to, the point of playing the campaign is to find out what happens to them, not the character creation, which is a different, like, we're not talking about that right now. Right?
That's why I consider it like basically a mini game tacked onto Traveler as opposed to like an important facet of the game.
You are 100% right. I gotta think about this, and whenever I'm like, oh, what's my favorite? I don't know what games are.
What's a game?
What's a game? Exalted is a game. It's the only game I can remember.
Did you forget what games are again?
I am constantly trying to. I do really like the way Lady B lets you just be like, pick up a character. I am this guy. Right? There's something to be said for
captain.
That. Right. But the thing that makes Lady Blackbird's air quotes character creation so good is that as you read down the list of the things you get, you learn who you are, right? There's a little blurb about your role in the story, and it's real short. And then it's like, keys are the categories.
The things you hit to do cool stuff.
But each one has a tag, and then you can gain more tags as you go on, and you start with a certain number of them, and they're things like forceful, survival.
For the different skills that you get.
And every time you invoke one of those properties of your character, you add another die to your pool.
And you add up all the tags that apply to what you're doing.
Yeah, and then you roll a little dice pool.
Lady Blackbird is like, it's basically like a prompts list.
Yes.
As opposed to like a complete character, and you can project whatever you want to onto this guy.
Right. And in that, despite the fact that every game of Lady Blackbird is going to be about the same thing, you're about the crew of the Owl trying to get Lady Blackbird to, reunite with her pirate boyfriend. Every interpretation of those characters is going to be different.
Yeah.
And that is infinitely fascinating to me. All right. I also enjoy some aspects of Through the Breach's character creation. I think there are some parts of it that I dislike sort of in the same reasons I dislike Traveler stuff. But it is by the criteria of a cool character generation system, top marks. Because you do a tarot reading for your character using in-setting tarot readings. And
that's fucking great.
So, Malifaux and Through the Breach are both played with a 52 card deck. But it has proprietary suits. Like, they translate to the regular 4 ones, but, like, the regular ones on a card deck, so you can play with a regular one. But, you follow the tarot, and you are supposed to put the cards down in front of you, like a tarot reading. And one determines your attribute skills, one determines your ability skills. They're called something else, but whatever. One determines, like, your background. One determines, you can choose to have one determine what class you start with, which are called pursuits, but, I'm speaking in lowest common denominator terms here.
Right.
And they progress in order. Each book has a different tarot that have slightly different answers in them.
Oh, okay.
And slightly, like, the part where you flip for your stats frequently has some real big duds in them. And you can make a character who sucks totally, and that's really the big thing I have a problem with. But the concept of, like, I'm doing a tarot reading for my character, and my fate determines who I am and what I can do is really cool.
Yeah, I like that a lot, actually. I don't like the whole part where you can make a character that sucks. I don't. Never a thing.
Yeah, it's the worst part, and usually when I do that, I house rule it with just, like, here's an array of skills you can just pick that instead. But the most important part of that, besides it building your character, is that each suit plus number in your tarot builds your fate lines. Like, every character has a weird, cryptic, randomly generated fated destiny.
Okay.
Which says things like, when the obelisk rises from the earth, the dead will howl at the moon, and specters will ring silver bells, and the beast court will revel.
Okay.
And you decide when you have met the destiny of when the obelisk rises from the earth.
Okay.
And you could be like, it could either be literally happening, like you could maybe actually summon and unearth an ancient artifact that's a big ol' obelisk, or you could have a big fight where a construct rips itself out of the ground and you could count that.
Okay.
Or you can also choose to deny your fate. So if one part of the game is all about not letting people unearth the malevolent psychic obelisk, and you successfully stop them, that is also fulfilling your fate, right?
Oh, that's really cool.
And when you fulfill a fate line, you get a special advance, basically like a custom power or a weird special magic thing your character can do, and you cross it out. And when you have fulfilled your entire destiny, you retire your character.
That's really cool.
Yes.
Yes, it is. I like that a lot. Dang. All right. Through the breach.
Yeah.
Monica.
Yeah.
How do we eat that free lunch?
This could be its own episode.
Remind me again what this free lunch is. How to make a fun guy, right?
Right, like, the point is that Nightling Bug's point is that D&D's character creation is super open-ended, so that people who are not, like, pointing at something like thirsty sword lesbians, which is utterly fantastic, right? But if you are not already a queer person or a trans person, or maybe someone who is trying to come to terms with that, you may feel off-put by it because you may think it's not for you because you are self-selecting out of it, right?
Right. Yes, exactly. Okay.
But your orc paladin does not tell you that. So you can work through your self-actualization through a game that does not tell you that.
Got you.
That was her point,
how
right?
How do we incorporate character generation
her point
that
is,
allows you to project?
Right. So her point was that, like, D&D character creation isn't even that good. A lot of story games and stuff either present you with a very loose role or something where you just, like, answer a couple questions and that's your guy, and that's great if you are a person who already understands themselves, right?
Yeah.
And that independent game creators surely could do a better version of, like, D&D, or hell, even Exalted's character creation, right? Like, where, like, how do we make a system that's great for making characters and makes people really invested and makes people want to play them over and over again? Literally, like what you said about Traveler. You're like, I've never played Traveler, but I've made Traveler characters.
Yeah. Yep.
Because that makes people want to buy your game, right? Like, regardless of whether or not they want to play it, the play part is perhaps the least important. Right? Like, people...
Yeah, they need to have a good guy.
They keep
using guy. They need to have a good character.
A lot of people buy games to read them, because they're big, beautiful coffee table books, or to make little friends.
Yeah.
Who they will draw pictures of, you know? Or write a lot of fanfic about, fantasize about playing, and then never do, you know? Yeah. I'm sorry if I'm calling you out right now. I don't mean this negatively.
Specifically.
I'm calling a lot of people out. So what, I guess the question is, what do you look for in a good character creation system? Like, what makes you want to make what makes you want to put the minifig together?
Man, it's different for everyone.
Right? I'm asking you.
For so long. I've been recording for so long, Monica. What do I like about it?
This is our finale. Come on.
What I like in a character generator is something that marries both the character's background, like the character's background and role in the world, to the mechanics itself, which is why I'm drawn to story path character generation and traveler character generation.
Mm-hmm.
Because it asks you, what does your character do, or what do you think your character does, and then assigns the mechanics to that, as opposed to the other way around, when you roll random numbers or pick from an array and then go, well, I guess they're a cleric, or
right.
Well, I wanted to make a cleric, but D&D isn't, it tells you, or it asks you, okay, do you want to be a fighter or a wizard? And then you roll through all that, and then it goes, okay, well, here's your background, and you have like 12 choices, and none of them are particularly great. Like, the worst part of D&D is trying to figure out, like, which of these backgrounds is any good. It stinks. So I like character generation systems that begin with, like, okay, like, yes, you have your concept, but we need to also figure out where your character fits into the actual, like, setting of the game. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's, like, the best starting point.
Cool. Man,
yeah, now you do it.
Yeah, now I gotta do it. So
because you just brought up, like, Lady B is basically prompts,
yeah,
how to play your guy, which is the opposite of what the point was of being able to, like, create something that's, like, for people who maybe are working through some shit and want to have a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, but you can still impress that onto the character flavor forceful, right? Like,
I mean, in the sense of,
to me, that's like,
Lady B is basically like playbooks,
right? Yeah, playbooks. Right? I really should have talked about playbooks on the point before, so I'll talk about playbooks right now. And then, like, I think playbooks are sort of my platonic ideal of a character creation system.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I actually really like Blades in the Dark for this, because I want to both have what I can do, and I want it to be the thing that I imagined, right? Like, when I make a Blades in the Dark character, it automatically gives you points in the things you're supposed to be good at, right? Like, you cannot build a cutter and fail to stab people.
You can't make a bad character.
You cannot make a bad character.
You can't make a bad character with playbooks.
Yes. I don't want to be able to make a bad character, right? Like, some people are like, but it's fun to suck, and I disagree. But that's, you know what, that is purely subjective. Fun is totally subjective, so I'm not really arguing with you. Please,
I don't like to suck.
Please don't argue with me.
I think you'd be pretty hard pressed to find someone who enjoys playing an incompetent character.
Yeah, theoretically they exist, or people just like to argue that that's a thing people like. I don't know. But, like, I don't want to be able to make or accidentally make a character who sucks, which is, like, a problem I've had with old traditional games.
Accidentally making an incompetent character is the worst. No one wants to accidentally be incompetent.
Right. But I also like a prompt. And I, like, playbooks are kind of both, where, like, you read down the whole thing and you know who you're supposed to be. And in the process of doing so, you are making specific choices about things your character can do. Like, you have moves, you have special powers. Like, I want to be excited about, like, I can fight 10 guys at once. But I also want to know this character is forceful, but witty, and a disaster, right? Like, that's not, I just literally described all of my OCs right there.
Forceful, witty,
disaster. Yep.
Yep, that tracks.
Sure did. And so I think,
wait a minute, those are my OCs.
Right. It's almost like we're friends with similar personalities. Shit. Fuck. So if I were to try to make a game just propped up on having great character creation, I would try to marry those two things. Maybe even with question askers at points in the character creation. Like, imagine if a White Wolf style character creation where you're just like, pick your concept, and you're like, I want to be a thief who's from a city and it came from an underprivileged class, and you're like, okay, cool. And then you're like, okay, pick your type and pick my type, and then pick your attributes. And then I'm like, okay, forceful, force, finesse, fortitude, blah, 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 blah. And then after that, it was like, what what does your character do when they're in danger or whatever? And then you have to answer that or something that. I'm doing a real bad job of demonstrating it, but we've been talking for an hour and 15 minutes and my brain's kind of shot. So I would like to see something that meshes those two together. That would be my free lunch.
Well, like you said, we've been talking for a long time.
We have. We're really wrapping
tired.
this up. Yeah.
Let's wrap it up, Monica.
Okay.
Where can they find our show?
You can find the show at bxpcast.com, part of a Misdirected Mark network.
Bing. Kind of a hoarse one there. Okay.
That's all right.
What about how would they email us?
If they want to email us with suggestions for games with great character creation, or hey, if you have indie games that have those, especially yours, we would like them. We'll buy them. We'll put them in the BXP library, or pay for some community copies. That'd be great. And you can send those to bonusexpcast@gmail.com.
Yep. And also, you can send them to us on Twitter. We're at bonusexpcast.
Yeah, we sure are.
You can send them to us individually. I'm at Ray W. Cole.
And I'm at Zenith Sun.
And I should probably, you know what?
What?
You know what I haven't done?
What haven't you done?
Brilliant. I should make a permanent invite to our Discord and like tie that to a really zippy URL so people can get to our Discord quickly.
That sounds fantastic.
I'm going to do that later and then like edit it in here in like a really terrible vocode and just scare everyone.
We should also put it in the banner on our website.
Yeah. All right. Everybody get out.
Yeah. All right. Let's go. I got to eat lunch.
Change it if you want to.
We will see you for season 5.
Yeah. You can look forward to our crazy off-brand content, but for now, I'm going to go take a 4-month nap.
Yep.
Thanks for listening. Bonus Experience is written and produced by Monica and Ray. Their logo and art are by Nino Studios. The theme song is revoiced with art by Analog by Nature and is used under the Attribution Non-Commercial Creative Commons license. But do you know who could use me without a Creative Commons license? Adam Driver. Deal me 20 levels of so-called lethal damage. Essential behemoth.